Good day, Dr. Melinda and classmates. I am Maria, and I will report on the last topic from our first module, the advantages and limitations of television and video. I will begin my report by going over a couple of definitions, and then I will discuss the advantages and limitations of television and video. I will also share my sources for this lecture, and I will end my presentation by showing the two discussion questions I have prepared for my fellow learners. So, what do we really mean when we say television? For the purposes of this presentation, we will follow the definition provided by the Oxford English Dictionary. According to them, television is a system used for transmitting and viewing images and typically sound. In other words, it's an electronic equipment that broadcasts pictures and video with or without sound. What about video? According to the Merriam Webster Dictionary, a video is a recording of an image or of moving images. So, like the clip you're seeing now on your screens, it's basically a footage with or without sound. In this case, the clip you're watching really has no sound. So, now that we have defined what television and video are, we can go to their advantages. And the authors of our primary reference material for our course gave four advantages of this two forms of media. But while preparing for this video lecture, I found one more which I think was notable. So, all in all, I will discuss five advantages of television and video. Beginning with the first, according to Lustria et al., these are the most intimate forms of mass communication. If you compare them to publications and to radio, television and video gives that most up close and personal experience to the end users, in this case, the viewers. In fact, while you're watching this video lecture now, you may feel like I'm talking to you in person, like I'm sitting across you and we're in the same room. Because you don't just hear my voice, you also see my facial expressions and my gestures. And personally, for me, this is what makes television and video such a powerful and very engaging form of media because it has that capacity to deliver messages with both verbal and non-verbal components. And I don't think publications and radio have that. The second advantage, they said, is it's widespread. Television and video are available to different audiences, regardless of where they're based or the time zone they're following. And this is supported by data by the Philippine Statistics Authority. Back in 2010, they said 70% of Filipino families own a television, which makes it the most common household appliance in our Philippine society. Regardless of class or income, it's the most common appliance there is in a Filipino household. And my takeaway here is the, the television and video, they have no geographical, no time, or even socioeconomic boundaries. And if we stop to consider the video streaming capabilities of smart TVs, even smartphones and tablets, we really see television and video taking mass communication to even greater heights. What we're seeing now is quarter 1 2022 data from Kantar, and they said back then there were almost 93 million Filipinos who were exposed to television and 21.7 million Filipino households that had TV. So that's how common televisions are in our Philippine life, Filipino daily life in our households. This is also supported by data from the Media Ownership Monitor when they said 9 out of 10 Filipinos were exposed to TV and more than half were actually watching TV every single day. So the bottom line here is if you want to reach Filipinos, choosing television and video as your media channels will most likely give you the results you want because we as a people are already naturally heavy users of television and video. The third advantage that Lucia et al. Pointed out is television and video. What we see there from them are they're very effective and enduring because what we see from there are memorable. We remember what we see from television and video, and that's because of their graphic nature. And science backs this up. According to the International Forum of Visual Practitioners, our human brains are wired to process visual data much faster than just textual data. So, again, going back to our first advantage, television and video has a capacity to deliver auditory, auditory, we can hear visual content, even textual. We can read what we see on TV. So there's auditory, there's textual, there's visual content delivered all at once. And this is what makes it effective because we're using so many of our senses to process the data we are seeing from a TV or a video platform. And my takeaway here personally is, if we want our message to stick in the minds of our audience, television and video may be the best channels to use for that. The fourth advantage that the authors mentioned is it's flexible. Television and video content are highly editable. They said that we can change the speed of events and we can also remove noise. Now, my understanding here of noise is it's not just the auditory noise, it's also visual noise. Because when we reflect and stop to think about the abundance of audio, image, and video editing tools we have now at our disposal, these tools just make it so much easier for us to tweak the audio visual information we are creating or processing or receiving. And this applies whether we are the creator of that information or we are the receiver. So, for example, if we are the creator, we can easily resize, crop, or zoom in a video before we upload it to our channels. And if we are the viewers, we can pause, we can replay, we can slow down the speed of a how-to video that we're watching on YouTube, so we can follow it more closely. And for me, this is what makes television and video the most audience-friendly media, because we have the tools to adjust this content that we are receiving or creating to suit our needs. And again, I don't think we can do that for publications and radio. The last advantage I'm going to discuss, again, this is not from Lustria et al., but this is from a blog from Bennett University entitled Advantages and Disadvantages of Television Journalism. And according to them, television journalism fosters community and harmony because it transmits the same news to citizens nationwide at the same time. Now, if you stop to think, what is the significance of that? So I saw news that my neighbor also saw at the same time. What's the significance? Well, if we stop to think that we human beings are social creatures, we have a tendency to reach out and talk about what we saw on TV or on a video platform with the people around us. And this creates opportunities for us to interact with the people around us, with our community. And this is how we build the community. When we start talking, when we start reaching out and communicating with them, we have this common ground. We saw the same piece of news. What did we think about it? What did we feel about it? This is where we start to build our community, when we start communicating. So I've gone over the five advantages of television and video. Now I will proceed to the limitations. So the authors discussed three limitations in our primary course material. Again, I found one more that I wanted to include. So all in all, I will discuss four limitations of television and video. The first limitation, they said, is it's not affordable. Television and video appliances, and even the actual cost of producing the content that we will broadcast in through the TV and video channels, they come at premium prices, which makes them difficult for the masses. And that's a challenge because it's the masses. If there's anything we are learning from our DevCom course, right? It's the masses we should reach through our work. So, according to Statista, actually, the average price of a television now in the Philippines is just a little below 11,000 pesos. And I'm not really sure how accurate this figure is from Statista, because when I checked the Abenson TV website, of the 222 TVs that they were selling, only 7 fell on this 10K mark. So, to further concretize this, I did more research and I compared the price of a Philippine Daily Inquirer transistor radio sold online in Lazada Philippines and televisions in the Abenson website. Now, if you are a minimum wage earning Filipino, I think you will agree with me that the most attractive media for you to buy from this table is the Philippine Daily Inquirer newspaper, because at only 20 pesos, it's really much, it's the most affordable option there is, compared to the cheapest TV on the Abenson website, which is 8,495. So this data proves that limitation that Lustria et al. Pointed out. The second limitation, they said, is it's not as accessible in rural areas. The television and video equipment are hard to come by. And again, similar to the first challenge, this is something we need to find a workaround to, because again, it's those the Filipinos based in rural communities that we really need to reach through our DevCom work. And this data back in 2014, this is from Kantar, but this was published in the Manila Times. This shows that inequality in terms of the distribution of televisions. In urban homes, there's 92% of urban homes that had at least one television set. This again back in 2014. But only 70% of rural homes that had a television. So again, this confirms that limitation pointed out by the authors. The third limitation is sadly, television and video are not able to maximize their educational potential because it's the reality that television and video are mostly utilized to entertain, not really educate the audiences. They pointed out that social development or agri programs are not given as much airtime as entertainment shows. Now, I would say the reasons behind this reality deserve a more in-depth study and presentation on its own. But when I did my research of the most watched TV shows here in the Philippines for this year, so far of 2024, this is what they found. To sum it up, out of the 10 most watched TV shows, 4 are comedy shows, 2 are in drama, 3 are in action, and 1 is in animation. Not a single one is about SDGs or agri or maybe saving the environment. So again, this confirms what Lucy et al. Pointed out. It's really more entertainment focused than educational or social developmental focus. The what we are seeing on televisions and video here in the Philippines. The last limitation I'll cover, it's quite obvious, but television and video are not as portable as print and radio. And this was from the Agility PR Solutions blog when they said television in particular, it's not a portable form of broadcast media. Unlike a newspaper that you can roll, or magazine that you can fold, or a transistor radio that you can hold in your hand, television and video equipment are much bigger, heavier, bulkier, and it's difficult to carry. You might need someone else to help you remove it from the wall or carry it and move it around from place to place. So these are my sources for my report, images and videos that I used. And the two discussion questions I would like my fellow learners to answer is the first, please give one advantage of television and video over publications and radio. And the second is, do you think television and video are still inaccessible in rural areas today? Please explain your answer. This is the end of my report. I hope you all learned what the advantages and limitations of television and video are from watching my presentation. And I hope you will all have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you all for watching.